Hey guys, this is CPM 2, Module 1, Lesson 4, and this is over Section 2.2, which is adding integers, and then also perimeter. So, the first definition is integers. And it says that the numbers -3, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3 are called integers. Notice that you have these little dots on both of the sides. That means it doesn't just mean these 7 numbers. So it keeps going along all of these negative numbers here, as well as keeps going on all of these positive numbers over here. Basically, any whole number, whether it's positive or negative, is an integer. So any fractions, any decimals, those are not integers. Any whole number, whether it's positive or negative, is an integer. So objective A is adding integers. We're going to start this by adding it from a number line. It says here, adding integers can be visualized using a number line. A positive can be represented on a number line by an arrow of the approximate length pointing to the right, and a negative number by an arrow of the approximate length to the left. So just like your positive numbers are over here on the right, your negative numbers are over here on the left, same exact thing. When you have a 2 or a positive 2, remember it doesn't matter if there's a sign in front of the 2 or not, it's known to be positive. We are going 1, 2 units, 1, 2 units to the right. When we have a negative number, now I'm going that many units, but to the left. So here, 1, 2, 3 units. From here, 1, 2, 3 units. Okay, so let's try this. Example 1, using the number line of -1 plus a -4. So, whatever this first number is here, this is where you are starting. So I'm going to start right here at -1. Now I am adding a -4. This negative means that we are going to the left that many units. Now, let's talk about how to count this. When we are moving, this is not 1 and then 2. You have not moved from this spot right here. So until we go to the next number, now this is 1, 2, 3, 4. My answer is -5. We went 4 units this way. Okay, same thing on number 2. We've got 5 plus a -2, so we're starting with whatever number they give us first. So 5. And we're going -2, so that means I need to go -2 to the left towards the negative numbers. So again, remember, this is not 1 from this spot. Now this is 1, 2. So my answer here is 3. Example 3, using the number line, we got -4 plus 3. So start at this -4. And now we are adding a +3. So now I need to go 3 units to the right towards all of these positive numbers. So from this point, this is not 1. Now it is 1, 2, 3. My answer is -1. Okay, so that's adding integers using that number line. It says using a number line, each time we add 2 numbers can be time consuming. Instead, we can notice patterns in the previous examples. Excuse me, I'm so sorry. Instead, we can notice patterns in the previous examples and write rules for adding integers. Rules for adding integers depend on whether we are adding numbers with the same sign or a different sign. So we're going to start with adding 2 numbers with the same sign. So when we are adding and we have the same sign, and it says here that this is the same as example 1. Let's kind of look at what happened here. When I had -1, I had -1 plus a -4, we got to a -5. So if you kind of notice here, when I had negative and negative, we did 1 plus 4, which was 5, and we kept that sign of that negative. So my rules here is first, when I have the same sign, so whether that's 2 positives or 2 negatives, we add the numbers and then keep the sign. Okay, so example 4, add. We've got 2 plus 6. Now, this is things that we've been doing for a while, right? We know 2 plus 6 is 8. But let's talk about why that is 8. First, they're the same sign. We can see that positive 6 here, but because we have no number or no sign in front of that 2, we know it's a positive 2. So those are the same sign. So we add 2 plus 6 gives me 8, and because they are both positive, we get a positive 8. So on B, we now have -4 plus a -21. So they are the same sign. You've got a -4 and a -21. So we need to first add the numbers. So 4 plus 21 gives me 25. And then step 2, we now need to keep the sign because they are both negative. Then it means that this number here is also negative. So my answer is -25. Same thing on C. You've got negative and negative. So my first thing is to add the numbers. 15 plus 10 is 25. And then step 2, keep the sign. And so since it's negative and negative, it means that this is a -25. So that is when they are the same sign. So what happens when they are different signs? And it says that this is the same as example 2 and 3. When they are different signs, you are first going to subtract those two numbers. Even though we are adding, it does not matter. Subtract those two numbers. And then you are going to keep the sign of the bigger number. Okay, so let's just look at example 2 and 3 now that we know that rule. Here, we had 5 and a -2, so those are different signs, right? This 5 is known to be a +5, and then this 2 is a -2. So the first thing we do is subtract them. So when you subtract, you get 3. 5 minus 2 is 3. And then it said to keep the sign of the bigger number. Well, 5 is that bigger number, so notice that my answer here is a +3. Okay, use example 3 is the same way. You've got a -4, so one's negative, and a +3, so a +3. Opposite signs again, so we subtract. 4 minus 3 gives me 1. And then keep the sign of the bigger number. 4 is a bigger number, and it's negative, so my answer here was a negative. So let's try now without the number line. So example 5, we're adding. So different signs because you've got a -18 and a +10. So subtract those two numbers. 18 minus 10 gives me 8. This is my bigger number. So because 18 is bigger and 18 is negative, this becomes a negative 8. Okay, B, you got 4 plus 20, or sorry, negative 4 plus 25. So 1 is negative, 1 is positive, so subtract the numbers. 25 minus 4 gives me 21. So we get 21 and keep the sign of the bigger number. Which one's a bigger number? That's that 25. And 25 is positive. So this answer here is 21. Okay, pause the video and see if you can do C and D. On C, you've got 3 plus a negative 17. So 3 is known to be positive. 17 here is negative. So we're going to subtract. 17 minus 3 gives me 14. Step 2 is to keep the sign of the bigger number. What's the bigger number? Is this 19? And that 19 is negative. So my answer here is negative. And lastly on D, you got a positive 12 plus a negative 8. So subtract these two numbers. 12 minus 8 is 4. And my bigger number is this 12. 12 is positive, so my answer is positive. All right. Recall the numbers such as 7 and negative 7 are called opposites. So in general, the sum of a number and its opposite is always 0. So you have some examples. You have opposite numbers here with 7 and negative 7. You have opposite numbers here with negative 26 and 26. And opposite with big numbers as in 1008 and negative 1008. Every single time those come up to 0. Okay, and it doesn't matter the order that these are in. So notice this one's positive. Let's do actually signs. This one's positive then negative. This one's negative then positive. It does not matter. If they are opposites, they are 0. So in example 6, add negative 21 plus 21. You've got opposites. You got 1 negative, 1 positive. So that is 0. 36, B, you got 36 plus a negative 36. You have positive 36 here and a negative 36 here. So since they're opposite signs, this is 0 too. Objective B, we're evaluating algebraic expressions by adding. So evaluate. You got 2x plus y. X is 3, y is a negative 5. So substitute these numbers in. You've got 2 times x plus your y. My x is 3. My y is negative 5. So now use your order of operations. We've got my please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. So we need to multiply first. So 2 times 3 is 6. And 6 plus a negative 5. Let's go back to our rules from just the last page. We are adding. So we need to see, do I have opposite signs or the same signs? Well, this one's a plus 6. This one's a negative 6. So they're opposite. So when they are opposite, it says first we have got to subtract the numbers and then keep the sign of the bigger number. So subtract your numbers. 6 minus 5 is 1. Keep the sign of the bigger number. This 6 is the bigger number, and that 6 is positive, so my answer is 1. Okay, B, do the same thing. You got x plus y. My X is -2. And my Y is a -10. So we're adding again. So do I have same signs or different signs? This one we have same signs. So when I have same signs, we're going to add the numbers and then keep that sign. So 2 plus 10 is 12. And keep the sign. You've got negative and negative. So my answer is negative. Okay. C, solve problems by adding integers. Example 8. If the temperature was -7 degrees Fahrenheit at 6 a.m. and then rose 4 degrees by 7 a.m. and then rose another 7 degrees in the hour from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m., what is the temperature at 8 a.m.? So we first have that our temperature is -7 degrees. So I got -7. Then it rose 4 degrees. If it rose 4 degrees, that's a +4. So we've got +4. Since it's rising, it's getting higher, that's a positive. And then it rose another 7 degrees. So plus another 7. Well, if you notice here, this is kind of why we went over opposites. When you have opposites, those are nice, those are 0. So if you notice here, we have opposites. We've got a -7 and a +7. So those just sort of cancel each other out. That's 0. And all we are left with is that 4. So my answer here is 4. Now we need some degrees, or we need units. So we're in degrees. And it tells me right here that we're in Fahrenheit. So what is it at 8 a.m.? It's 4 degrees Fahrenheit. Number 9, suppose a deep sea diver dives from the surface. He dives 16 more feet, use positive and negative numbers to represent the situation, then find the diver's present depth. So I think I forgot to number in here. So let's say that this guy, deep sea diver, dives, let's go 43 feet from the surface. Then he dives another 16 more feet. Perfect. Okay. So if he dives 43 feet from the surface, that means here's my surface. He's going down 43 feet. If he's going down 43 feet, is that a positive 43 or is that a negative? That's definitely a negative since he's going down below that surface. So we're going to start with a -43. And then he dives down 16 more feet. So I shouldn't have put that negative, but it's negative because we're going further down, further in that negative direction. So we are going to add a -16. So same rules that applied on this problem apply on this one. We've got the same sign. They're both negative. So we need to add and keep the sign. So 43 plus 16, you got 3 plus 6 is 9. 4 plus 1 is 5. So we are going down 59 feet. So after we add, we need to keep the sign. You've got negative and negative. So negative 59 feet. And last page, example 10 has to do with this bar graph. It says the bar graph below shows the yearly income for Apple's Incorporated. Net measures revenue, money taken in, minus cost, money spent. Use the graph to answer the following questions. A, what was the total income in dollars for Apple Inc. in 2001? So nothing really to do here. What was it in 2001? That's -25. And we need money, -21, my negative 25 what millions of dollars. Okay, what was the total income for Apple in 2005? It shows right here, 1328. So it was $1,328 million. Now here, find the total net income for the years 2011 and 2012. So remember, total means to what? It means to add. So I need to add 2011 with 2012. So let's add them. We've got 41. Let me make this a little smaller. We've got 41,733 plus 25,922. So add. 3 plus 2 gives me 5. Another 3 plus 2 gives me 5. 7 plus 9 is 16. So the 6 comes down, you carry the 1. So now in this column here, we've got 1 plus 1 plus 5 to give us 7. Nothing carries, so 4 plus 2 is then 6. So my total income is $67,655, but we're still in million dollars. And lastly, perimeter. Recall that the perimeter of a figure is the distance around the edge. So when we think of perimeter, you need to think fence, right? If you're talking about your backyard, we're not talking about the grass. We're talking about the outside, around the edges of your yard, the fencing. Therefore, to find the perimeter, add up the lengths of sides. We use P to represent perimeter. So on A, my perimeter here is 5 plus 3 plus 4. So 5 plus 3 is 8, plus another 4 is going to be 12. When you are finding perimeter, area, anything with geometric figures, you need units. So what unit are we in? In A, we're in centimeters. So my perimeter is 12 centimeters. On B, we have a rectangle. That means this side is the same as this side, and these two sides are also the same. So you only have 2 numbers here, but we know all 4 sides. You've got 4 inches, 8 inches. This bottom one is 4. This side one here is 8. So when we find the perimeter, we're going to add 4 plus 8 plus 4 plus 8. So my perimeter, we've got 4 plus 8 is 12, plus 4 is 16, plus another plus another 8 is 24. And again, 24 what? What unit are we in? We are in inches, so perimeter is 24 inches. See, now we've got a lot of sides on this one. My perimeter is 7 plus 5 plus 1 plus 8 plus 3 plus 5. All right, so let's add. Perimeter, we've got 7 plus 5 is 12, plus 1 is 13, plus 8 is 21, plus 3 is 24, and plus 5 is 29. So 29 what? 29 inches. Now D and E are the exact same thing, but notice that like on D, you've got some question marks. On E, you've got some X and you've got some Y. You've got to use this diagram to be able to find those sides. So for example, to find this side right here, this side is the same as this and this added together. So you've got 5 here, you've got 3 here. So it means this whole side, add them together, is 8 feet. Same thing with this side down here. This side is made up of this portion here because it'd be from here to here. That portion is 8. And then this portion here, that would be this right here, which is 4. So 8 plus 4 is going to make this side here 12 feet. So now add these all up together. So we've got the perimeter equals 8 plus 12 plus 5 plus 4 plus 3 plus another 8. Okay, we got a little bit bigger numbers here. We've got 4 plus 12 is 20, plus 5 is 25, plus 4 is 29, plus 3 is 32, plus 8 is going to give me 40. So 40 what? 40 feet. All right, now E is the same thing when I'm finding X and Y, but this time we're going to subtract. Y right here is this plus this 18 needs to equal this whole thing of 30. So we will do 30 minus 18 is going to give me 12. So this is 12 feet. X is the same concept. X is made up of this little portion here, and I know this plus this 40 feet here needs to equal this total of 80 feet. So 80 minus 40 is going to give me 40. Now, I do realize on this problem that if these two here are equivalent, that this 40 is way smaller than this 40 here. That just means it wasn't drawn to scale. So I know it doesn't look like they're the same, but mathematically they are the exact same. Okay. So we did 80 minus 40 to get 40. So we had 40 feet here and 12 feet here. So now we can add these all up. So my perimeter is 80 plus 30 plus 40 plus 12 plus 40 plus 18. Okay, we've got some bigger numbers here. So let's kind of chunk these up a little bit. We've got 80 plus 30 is 110, plus another 40. This is going to give me 150 from these first three. 80 plus 30 is 110, plus 40 is 150. On this one, 12 plus 40 is 52, plus 18 is 70. And now 150 plus 70 is going to give me 220. And we are in feet, so 220 feet. All right, that's all I've got for this lesson. Rewind it, pause it as you need to. Again, these videos are amazing because you can watch these lessons at your own speed. Let me know if you guys